Do you need to get ranked by 247 Sports or On3 and become a 3, 4, or 5-star player in order to get real scholarship offers? This is a question that Brian, our head coach here at Next Play, and myself get almost every single day from parents all over the country that are curious about if they need to spend time going to camps, getting their kid ranked, and does he need to have stars in order to get a scholarship? You're listening to the Football Scholarship Podcast, the playbook for parents and athletes who want to secure the best football scholarships possible. From securing a D1 football scholarship in the SEC at Ole Miss at just £5,700, myself, to helping 83% of the athletes I mentor achieve football scholarship offers and 42% going Division I. I've learned countless lessons that I'll be sharing right here with you. Join me and my co-host, Brian Overton, who has 15 years of D1 college football recruiting experience, as we interview top experts, successful athletes, and discuss current recruiting trends. Together, we'll help you navigate the recruiting process so you too can achieve your dream of running out of that tunnel in front of 100,000 screaming fans. Today, we're going to break down everything you need to know about rankings and stars and how they work and whether you should consider getting them, and most of the services that are out there that claim to give stars. Are they legit? Are they not? Anyways, we're going to break all that down for you so you know exactly what you need to do in order to get a college football scholarship. So you and I had a really fun conversation last Friday because you know, obviously with your experience, 15 years of Division I recruiting experience, and, you know, you got a lot of followers on X and a lot of these so-called services that offer rankings that were trying to get in front of you when you built the recruiting department at Arkansas and when you were at FIU and you were in charge of it, right? They were trying to get in front of you, right? So how did you view these, you know, one-off rankings, right? Like we'll talk about the 247s, the On3 rivals, but like you see a lot of these people that are like doing reviews of kids and ranking them, and then they come to us and like we literally okay, hold on, before we let you talk, I just gotta share the story. It's crazy. Coach Rowe literally came to me, dude, and he was like, hey, I just got off the phone with a 5-star. And I was like, oh wow, okay, because usually 5-stars, like, they don't work with us, you know what I mean? They, you know, we have kids that are going to become one as they get older, but they don't start that way, right? So they don't come to us after they're a 5-star. So I was like, bro, like how many scholarship offers? He has none. Okay, he's not a 5-star athlete, right? Oh, and he was like, oh, well, and then we looked into it, and it was like some guy on X that gave him a 5-star, and now this kid's claiming he's a 5-star athlete. It's like, no, like this is not how this works. But I want to hear from your side of the coin, right? Because like all these services we're trying to get in front of you that give out stars. So what was that like for you? How did you handle it? What's legit? What's not?
Yeah, and you know, this is a huge rabbit hole. You know, and
But parents need
you
to
know,
know this. They gotta.
yeah, absolutely. It's yeah, absolutely. But I'll just start by saying, you know, like obviously I say things now, you know what I mean, that I probably wouldn't have, you know, when I was in the business, you know, and things like that. I say a lot of things that a lot of my old colleagues want to say, you know, but you know, just kind of want to toe the line a little bit, you know, when it comes to things like this. So, you know, but I think you're doing such a disservice to people, you know, if you don't if you're doing what we're doing and you're whether it comes to the evaluation or whatever it is we're doing, any advice we're giving you, if we're not telling you the absolute truth, whether you like it or not, we're doing you a disservice. Okay, that's just how it goes, guys. So, in reference to stars, like Richie said, I'm this is my point of view. This is how, you know, I was brought up in the business. This is how I ran every department I was in charge of. You know, I didn't care. The biggest way to get into a back and forth with me, if you know, if you were on my staff and at one of those schools, was to come in and present a kid to me and give me the basic information and then end it with, and he is ranked as this many stars, or and he is ranked at this number of player in the state, and stuff like that. That only happened. That would only happen one time, and then it would never happen again because they knew that I didn't care about any of that. Could care less. And I'm gonna tell you why. And we're gonna get. So I'm gonna flip it a little bit. I'm gonna start with the big guys and go in reverse order because the people outside of the big services need the most attention right now because it's ridiculous. So the big guys, even the big guys like 247 on three, whatever. I'm not knocking them, whatever they do. They do a job, they do it effectively, and things like that. But you got to remember, guys. I'm gonna give you the real nuts and bolts of it and the behind the scenes. You got to understand that these evaluators, like whether they're in a job like I was, or a coach or anybody, right? The way they evaluate and the type of kids they bring into their program, their job is on the line. Okay. If these guys miss on these star rankings that are doing these star rankings and things like that, they're probably still going to have a job. They're just going to chalk it up. Okay, we miss one every now and then, whatever
It's
the
like the
case may be.
weather. It's like the weather.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
You want to, you want to be, you want to have job security. You know what I'm saying? Be a weatherman, a politician, and a star ranking guy. You know what I mean? That's the best job security in America. Okay.
right.
One of those three. Have at it. Right. But their job's not on the line. Well, if we on the other side of it take too many of those kids, and I'm not saying I never took them because of stars. The reason I didn't care about stars is because I wanted to watch the tape. The tape tells me if
Yeah.
he can help us play, if he can help us win and he can play for us. The tape tells me that. Not a star ranking ever has ever told me where I should rank a kid on his board. Because with the big guys, I've had kids that were ranked really high, right? And had 25, 30 offers or whatever the case may be. And I turn on the tape and it just does not make sense, okay, to me and my team, okay? And so, if you're evaluating based on that, you're hustling backwards. All right. You're hustling backwards. Now that we've got those guys out of the way. And again, the thing I want to preface this with as well, the way you get stars is with offers. It's not the other way around.
Right.
Okay. The great example is what Richie just told you. The kid had 5 stars from some guy sitting in his basement watching his tape and just came up with his own star system and slapped 5 stars on him. The guy didn't have one offer. Okay. With the big services, recruiting stars come with offers. Okay. So that's how that works with the big guys. And we're talking about the top, 300, 400 kids in America. All right. So that's that. Okay. I never cared about stars. And to be honest with you, the high level evaluators across the country don't. Now, there's a lot of times it matches with the best players in the country. Yes. Because I'm saying those guys do a good job evaluating
They
them for the
have the
most part.
offers already, so then it's easy for
Right.
them
The
to
big
get the
guys,
stars.
the,
Yeah.
the big services do a nice job. Okay. They do. But there's only 2 of them. All right. There's only 2 of them.
What about
Okay.
Rivals, ESPN? Uh,
Honestly, nobody really looks at those guys. They do it, but like nobody's, they may factor it into an overall formula at the end of the day for signing day coverage and all that stuff. I mean, nobody cares. Okay. Taking the gloves completely off. Texas A&M signed what was ranked as the best class in the history of star rankings, a couple years ago or whatever it was, 2, 3 years
all
ago.
5-star. They had like 7 5-stars.
Coach, like 75% of them aren't even there anymore.
Yeah.
They're gone. They transferred, didn't work out, whatever the case may be. Right? So that's their telltale sign right there. They took them because they were ranked high. That's what they did. Nobody can change my mind on that because we were recruiting some of the same guys during that time. Okay. So that's what the big services, right? But what I really want to get into the weeds on, and I talk a lot about this on my X account. If you want to follow me, I'm at Coach B Overton on X. I talk
Oh,
about
a
it a
little
lot.
plug there, huh?
Yeah, but I talk about it a lot, and I want you to see the differences because I really try to differentiate what we're doing with what other people are doing, and I put real examples up there if that's what you're looking for. Okay, and I try to clearly explain that through some posts I have on X without calling anybody out by name, and I'm not into that, but I do want people to know, guys, there are a ton of people out there right now, and I say people, they're not organizations, they're not anything like that, And I'm not saying that they're even bad people, but I'm talking about when it comes to recruiting and how it can help you and hurt you. All right. And they're developing their own star systems because that's what everybody wants to talk about. How many stars they have? How do I get stars? How do I not get stars? This, as an evaluator, nobody cares. Nobody cares. You know, the other reason nobody cares is because when they sign you, I don't care if you got 6 stars or no stars. When you walk in that locker room for the first day at your college, nobody cares. The other players in the locker room don't care. The coaches don't care. You're starting from scratch all over again. Nobody cares. They don't. Okay. So it's talked about all the time. So now these guys that want to do, social media promotion for the kid in the recruiting space, and they have their own camp series, and they say, "Come to our camp," and you'll get a star ranking, and this, that, and other. You know, you might as well have your grandmother give you one than to go to that camp and get a star ranking.
Right.
That's how much somebody's going to care what that guy star ranking gave you. And then what you guys do, okay, and it's not your fault because you don't know what you don't know. That's exactly why we're doing this. And then
Right.
what happens is you do what Richie just mentioned, where the kid calls in, or you put it in your X profile, right? So you put
Right.
it up there in your bio,
Like,
and
dang,
I can't
5
tell you how
stars?
many. Yeah, I can't tell you how many I've come across. 3-star quarterback, this, that, and other. And I start scrolling down, and I see who gave it to you, and it like takes the wind right out of the parachute. Like, you know what I mean? So imagine if a coach is looking at your stuff and you're like, he's posting these a 3-star from this guy gave me a 3-star. Well, who is that guy? He may not know if the ball's stuffed or got air in it. Like, you know
He's
what I mean?
he's
So
a he's a X he's an X master. He's a Twitter master.
right. And it's ridiculous. And so it just really gets me fired up because they really promote that, and like they promote stars and like coming to a camp or a showcase or whatever to get a star ranking for to try to get you to come and make money to get a star ranking from somebody that nobody in college football that's doing it right cares about. Nobody. So it moves the needle none whatsoever. None. Okay.
Not
And
even a
then,
little
and Richie, jump in when you want to jump in because I'll go off on this and I'll
bit?
never stop. But go ahead. You got something? Go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
Okay. So, and the other thing is, guys, and again, follow me on X, Coach B Overton. The reason I say that's not a plug. It's because again, I try to give real differences in our program and other people's program. It's not knocking anybody else's program. It's just that I think we do things very uniquely that prepare you more than just, hey, call me. I'll promote you on social media because I know all these coaches follow me, this, that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. Well, if that was the case, the other reason to go check out my X account, see how many times I go on there and say 2026 linebacker, da da da, and give this big write up and this that and tag our guy, one of the guys on our roster. You know why you don't see that? Because they're doing it themselves. We teach them how to do it themselves. They're generating their own buzz in recruiting, right? I could reach out to every coach in America and anybody can charge to do that. You know how many people out here have coaching relationships? That's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And here's what makes it even more dumb. Okay. In the last 5 days, I jump out of the car. We're taking my son to school. Tania keeps going. She takes him, drops him off. I hop out of the car and I go in a little coffee shop, right? And I grab my little coffee and I sit out there until she drops him off. She swings by and gets me. Every day for the last 5 days, I scroll through some of these guys' stuff. They're only doing social media promotion. And for the last 5 days, I've come across seniors and juniors that they're promoting on social media, right?
Like
And they
25?
tag the kid in the post. I click on his X profile, and in the screenshot video that they're doing, which is the worst evaluation I've ever heard in my life. There's no position specifics. There's no how can he get better. It's terrible. It's a word salad to the utmost degree. Okay. I click on their X bio, all right, and he's a 25 or 26. It's got no contact information in there. And in the eval that he's doing the screenshot of, he says, well, I have no idea why this kid's under the radar and, he's not getting anything from coaching. Well, how in the world do you think they're going to contact him if he has no contact information in his bio that you're sending out and you're tagging him in it? And you're saying, hey, coaches, be aware, this, that, and other. So now they
Right, and
like
they're
him.
not
Well, where do you
teaching.
want him to get the contact information from? Do you want him to
No,
call you?
yeah, they're not teaching the kid anything.
Nothing.
They're just getting paid to promote them
To
on their
post.
yeah. And hopes that coaches will see and then and think this person's evaluation is good enough for them to be like,
Put his
oh,
job
well,
on the line to go to his coach and say, hey, we need to sign this guy because so-and-so said he was really good and gave him a 3-star ranking, coach. What do you think? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And don't even stop there, guys. We teach our kids how to build their X bio to help them in recruiting. Okay. We teach them how to do it. Okay. So none of our guys is a coach going to come watch his tape or get sent to the X account, however he makes it to his X account, and like him and not be able to contact him. That's never going to happen. It's not.
right. And we're talking like super basic stuff right now,
Correct.
but
So,
yeah, like
but then I click on his tape in his X bio. If I can find it, I click on it, and his highlight tape's in shambles. It's in shambles. It has no information slide. His best plays are buried at the back of the tape, this, that, and other. And in the same sentence, this guy's evaluating him saying, I have no idea why this guy's flying under the radar. I have no idea why this, and this. Well, they called you to promote him on X and give him a star ranking, and you have no idea what to tell him why he's not getting any responses.
right.
Or
And no
why he doesn't
action
have any
plan, no
buzz.
steps. And then on top of that, not only no action plan and no steps, but are you going to coach him through it? You're going to make sure he's doing it right. You're going to hold him accountable
No.
to reaching out to coach, right? Yeah. Anyways,
So, I mean, I get
so,
on this big rant, guys, because they're taking these kids' money and they're just slapping their tape in some raggedy evaluation online.
but
And
he's a
that's
five
it. That's
star,
what,
bro. He's 5
and that's
stars.
where, it starts and stops. And people really think that matters. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter.
It's not their fault though. They really
And
don't.
you've got the, you got the same, type guy saying, well, emailing coaches doesn't work. DMing coaches that don't follow you if their DMs are open don't work. Well, let me do this. Ask the 19 of our 20 seniors that are signed already if that works, because that's what we do.
95%. Yeah. No, totally, man. I
Do
mean,
that.
look, it doesn't work the way you're doing it, right? It's like saying,
They're
it's like
not
in
doing it
business
though.
saying,
They're not teaching them to do it because they don't think it works at all. So they're not even asking them to do it.
yeah, they don't believe it works. That's what I'm saying. Cause like they might have tried it with somebody and sent 4 DMs and it didn't work. So it's like doing the right things is way different than doing the right things the right way. And doing the right things the right way at the volume necessary to actually get the result. And then doing the right things the right way, doing it with the volume, doing it consistently, and then getting good at it, right? There's layers to this, right? So of course, in the beginning, nothing works, right? Nothing works in the beginning. You have to get good at it. You have to get better at it. You have to do it the right way. You got to get coached through it. You got to be held accountable. You got to, it's not. So anytime they say that stuff, like, whatever. So here's the question. Here's what I want to know of those people posting. So we haven't done a release yet, right? Like last year, 83% of our seniors signed scholarship offers. This year, 95% did. Brian just kind of let the hat out of the bag there. Is that the word? This whatever out of the bag. We haven't done a release. We're going to be doing a release because if you take the average of the 83% and the 95%, we're actually at 89%, right? So we're going to be doing a big release of 89%. But I would love to put that 89% because we have a playbook for every step of the recruiting process, the marketing process, the sales process, the highlight video, the choosing the right schools, the building your big board, the following up, with playbooks for everything throughout the process. And on top of that, we coach them through each step, right? Exactly how to execute that playbook. And then the next layer of that is we hold them accountable to doing it consistently and getting better at it, right? And we don't let kids off the hook, and we do it weekly and in some instances daily. That's how 95% of our guys got scholarships. And the only one that didn't is he just decided he wasn't going to do it anymore. He didn't want to play college football. Like, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. Like, there's nothing we can do about it, right? That's why we have a whole entire interview process. We do a professional. That's why we do the professional evaluation. If you want to apply to work with us, you can't just apply, get on a call, and enroll. Like, that's not how we work. you have to do a professional evaluation first so we can make sure that we can actually help your son and set real expectations with you and your son as the parent and as the athlete. Then we interview the athlete to make sure they meet the 4 criteria that we know if they meet these 4 criteria, they'll have the best chance of earning a scholarship out, right? Are they committed? Are they committed to the They don't have to be good. Most kids we work introverted. They're shy. They don't like posting on social media. They don't like reaching out to college coaches. Of course, because they've never done marketing and they've never done sales before. They're all like that. All we care about is that they're committed to the process. They're committed to doing the work. If they're committed, they'll become the person that they need to be, to develop the skills, to form the habits to get the end result, right? And so that's why we focus on the actual athlete. And also, like, when you do it for them, you're robbing the athlete of the ability to develop these skills, these life skills, not just marketing and sales, but how to overcome the fear of failure and rejection and what people think about them. These are all skills that will translate for the rest of their life. And when you do it for them, you rob them of that opportunity. On top of that, Brian, yes, we do have an AI automation tool that throws fuel on the fire when reaching out to coaches, that does emails, that follows coaches, that sends DMs. Yes, but they learn how to do it first. They still do it. Then we add fuel to the fire, right? Because obviously we're not dumb. We're not going to do everything manual with no new tools that people are using today, right? So adding a video, adding a star ranking, guys, like, you get the star. If you want to become a 3-star on 247 Sports on 3, you do that by getting offers, right? And you get offers by doing outreach, right? Unless you're 6'6" and you run a 4.3 40, those are the guys that get stars out of the gate. If you're not that, you've got to go out and you've got to earn it, meaning you've got to do the outreach. You got to build buzz around yourself. You got to post on social media consistently. You got to get coaches to follow. You got to DM those coaches. You got to email those coaches. You got to build relationships with those coaches. You do that, you start getting offers. You keep getting better as a player on the field at the same time. Then you'll have an opportunity to start getting ranked, right? And really start getting noticed by these services. Without that, you're gonna go to showcase after showcase. You're not 6'6", you're not running a 4.3 40. I don't care. You can go to those camps, you can go to those showcases, you can beat every Division I prospect up and down the field. Won't matter. Wasting your time. You got to go out, you got to get offers, right? You got to get offers if you want to get ranked. If you want to pay somebody to give you a 3-star, a 4-star, a 5-star, that means nothing to anybody. Go ahead, go for it. But you're wasting your time, you're wasting your money, and it's not helping the player. It's not helping the kid.
Yeah.
Taking the
And
opportunity.
again, that's what bothers me the most when I see those things. And I look at their highlight tape, and the order is terrible. You know what I mean? They got no information slide. Their X account is not set up properly. And then in this, in some of the same breaths are people saying this kid's under the radar. Not getting a lot. Well, yeah, you hadn't taught him the tools to get him on anybody's radar. Like, you know what I mean? You're hustling backwards here. It makes no sense to me, and it really gets me fired up. That's why I tweet about it a lot. And I say, hey, look, if you want the total package of you're gonna get business skills that are gonna last you way past football. Okay, that's a given. You're gonna get business skills that are gonna last you way past football. All right, you're going to get coaching and mentoring, because that's what we are. We're not a recruiting service. We're a coaching and mentoring service for all these reasons. You're going to get coaching and mentoring on and off the field, and you're going to get direct, specific football feedback. Okay, it's not just a email and this, and we teach you how to market yourself and all this stuff. We're going to give you real football position specific, like, feedback, to help you get better as well. And how do you progress as a player? You're getting a total package there. And we're going to teach you how to do all these things. Okay. And that's what separates us from everybody else doing it. Okay. And I just, again, on my X, I try to make a clear distinction between that, whether it's posting, testimonials. You know what I mean? I tweeted the other day, a testimonial from one of our seniors this year and his mom. Don't take my word for it. Don't take Richie's word for it. Take their word for it. You know what I mean? Where's all the testimonials of these people and who they've helped? That's my question. Like, where are the people coming out and saying, hey, you guys did great for me, this, that, and other? why are their comments turned off on their evaluations that they're posting?
Ooh, is that real? I didn't know
Anybody?
that.
Yes. Anybody ever wondered that? Why their comments are turned off? If you're wondering, I can tell you. Just hit me up on X, or I'll tell you right now. Because they're going to get hammered on it from anybody that knows what they're looking at football wise. That's why. Okay, so I can go on
The
and on
other
and
thing,
on.
yeah, no, the other thing too, dude, like, and I remember when I initially hired you and you came out to Vegas for the first time, one of the first things you said was like, dude, the reason I really want to be a part of this, I mean, you'd been in college football recruiting at the top of the game in the SEC, right? Like, and you ran the show. So you're at the very top of the game in the SEC, and you stepped away from that to join this, dude. And that's a big deal. And you said, like, one of the things you said was like, dude, I would hear from parents, you hear from handlers, you hear from recruiters, you hear from people, but you said, I want to hear from the athlete. The athlete's the one that shows up to practice. The athlete's the one that has to want it. I want to hear from the athlete. And there were times that you would have handlers and this and that, and you'd be like, you know what? This kid's good. He would be on my board. We may offer him, but because I got to deal with all this, I'm just going to move on to the next guy. Like, that's a real thing. Am I wrong?
No, it's absolutely, and I will make that very clear now. Like I chose to leave. Like I that was my decision, nobody else's. Okay, like I get that question every now and then. Why'd you get out of it? I chose to do that. I wanted to spend more time with my family, and I wanted to get involved in a program and a company that was going to tell kids the truth and teach them things that they were going to take long after football, and be very transparent with them as far as talent level and what they needed to do to get better and build their confidence and build confident young men and all those other things. You know what I mean? I could have done a lot of things when I got out. All right. But I chose to do that, on my own. And, what I've learned over the last year is that it's more needed than ever. Like it's more rampant than ever. And that's why our parents rave about it. Okay. The other thing you see on these other sites and stuff is, the guy will say where he's got 10 Division I offers right now, and he's doing it. Well, he doesn't need you. You just took his money. He does not need you.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? You just took that family's money. You know what I mean? The kids we get and the parents we get are looking for an edge. They don't know they don't know where to start sometimes. They're looking for some answers, and they want real feedback, and they want us to teach their kids all these skills, right? They want us to teach them so they can do it themselves, and they take control of their recruiting process. All right. That is the huge difference between what we are doing and what other people are doing. Okay. So if you're looking for the other, we're not for you. Right. But the reason we're growing so fast is because people want to be taught how to do it. They want real answers. They want a real evaluation. Okay. They just don't want Division I kids. All right. We want kids of every division. Okay. If your kid's a Division II player, NAIA player, and that's what he is, we're going to help him get as many of those opportunities as we possibly can. If he's a Division I Power Four
The
player,
big
we're
thing,
going to
yeah,
help him get as many of those as
we're
we
not
can.
gonna we're not gonna fluff you. No gray
Yeah,
area.
we're not going to
Like,
waste your time or
dude,
your money.
we had a lady reach out to us about getting a professional evaluation, and we said before we do a call. It's like a 15-minute call to make sure your son meets the criteria, so we can actually do one, and we tell you what it's gonna be for because everything we do, we set expectations, right? There's clear expectations of what we're going to do and the result and what you can expect. And so one of the expectations that we set is that it's going to be a no fluff, and we are going to be upfront with you. We're going to be real with you, right? We're not going to say your son's a Division I player if he's not, right? So if you want a real evaluation from Brian, from our coach K with 15 years of recruiting experience, where we could say definitively, it's not an exact science, but definitively that whether he's a Division II, a Division I FCS, G5, Power 4, or NAI, or Division III player, and you want to know, then we're the right people for you. We're not going to tell you he's Division I if he's not. Like, it's just not going to happen. We're going to let you know where he's at. But this parent came and said, well, it's going to hurt his confidence. Well, then, that's a parenting decision for you. However, as me, I'm a parent. I've got 2 kids, right? Like, I want my kids to know where they're at. And I also want them to develop the mentality and the mindset to say, hey, not everything in life is going to be exactly what I want to hear. But the most important thing is me attacking the process, is my work ethic to getting to where I want to go. It's the process, not the result. So if I find out I'm a Division II player from Brian says you're Division II, but here's what you need to do to get to FCS. That's motivation for me to say, I'm Division II, but I want to be D1. Here's what I need to do, and I'm going to go attack that and get it. And honestly, if you're listening to this, you're a parent, that's your choice as a parent. But for me as a parent, I want my kid to look at it as motivation and to have the mindset and the mentality to attack and go get what they want. Nothing's going to be handed to them. It's not a trophy for everybody. It's their responsibility to take control of the process. It's their responsibility to focus on the process, because it's about the process. It's not the end result. It's about building the skills, to forming the habits, to become the person that you need to be to get the result. If you focus on the process, and that's where next play comes from. Next play is the process. Next play is the play in front of you right now. It's not getting a scholarship. It's what do I need to do today? What's my next play today to get a scholarship? That's our whole accountability. Everyone claims to have an account. We're going to hold them accountable. Bullshit. You don't got a system for it. We do. That's what next play is. Next play is our accountability system, which is how we keep the kids focused on the play in front of them. We help them determine what that play is, and we keep them focused on what that is that they need to do today to get the scholarship later, right? One play at a time, one play a day, one play a week, one focus to get to the next level, right? That's what next play is. That's how we even developed it, right? Or the name of the company. That's why I named it this. So what was the point of that rant? I don't remember, dude. But
I know this. I know this. 15 years doing this. Nothing will hurt their confidence more
that's what
than
it was. The parent.
nothing will hurt their confidence more than somebody evaluating them incorrectly and them targeting the wrong schools for all that time and not getting any responses and no traction. You want to kill their confidence? Get them evaluated improperly and have them wasting their time reaching out to coaches that are not going to respond because that's not their talent level. That's how you kill their confidence. You do not kill their confidence by telling them the truth and telling them what divisions they can actually should have success in based on their talent level.
And what they need to do to get to the next level, right? So you're right. Where they are right now, spend all your time targeting those schools so you can get some offers, right? And then on the field, focus on what you need to do to get to the next level, right? So you focus on the product side and you focus on the business side. 50-50 split. Most kids, they focus all their time on the business side. That's a choice. So, all right, rankings. Let's wrap this up because I want, parents are listening here. Rankings, right? Do you need them to get an offer? Flip it. You get the offers. That's how you get the rankings. It's pretty straightforward, right? You focus on the business side of recruiting. We teach kids how to be businessmen. That means they're the product, right? But if you break down a business, you have marketing, you have sales, and you have product. Your son's the product. Every player spends all their time. They get the trainers. They work out really hard. They work out their footwork and all the drills that they need to do on the field. They spend 90% of their time on that and don't have offers and wonder why. We got to get better at time management. 50-60% of their time on product, the rest of their time on the business side, building their brand, posting on social, following coaches, DMing coaches, and then the sales side, reaching out to coaches, building relationships with coaches, following up with coaches, right? 50% of their time, 40% of their time needs to be spent on that if you want to get offers today in this crazy competitive landscape. And if you're fixated on stars from the big guys, the 247s and the on threes, get offers. Get offers, you'll get stars, especially as you get better and you get the bigger offers, right? That's really where the stars will come in. Other than that, all these people all over the internet claiming to give stars out and promoting, like, you're just wasting your time, wasting your money, and your son's learning nothing, right? So, again, choice, decisions, and you have them, but that's our thoughts on it. And Brian has 15 years of experience on his side, and obviously I do as the player of earning a scholarship. So, but yeah. Anything you want to add, Brian, before we wrap it up?
My advice would be to get your head out of the clouds, stop worrying about stars, control what you can control, which is getting that tape as good as you can possibly get it. Worry about getting your marketing piece as good as you can possibly get it on X, because that moves the needle. And control what you can control. It's always going to come back to the tape, guys, not what somebody star ranking gives you. It's always going to come back to the tape and how many coaches you can get that tape in front of. That's what it boils down to.
We'll get
If I
in
had any
front
advice
of.
to you, for just don't ever say stars again is what I would advise you. Don't ever think about them. Don't ever say it. Who cares? Nobody.
Right. But just to elaborate, to make sure people have context, it's not just getting the tape in front of them. It's getting the tape in front of the right coaches to watch it, and then getting those coaches on a phone call, and then getting from that phone call to on a visit or get in front of them personally somehow. And then from there, visit to an offer, right? It's all this.
Point being, if you don't have the tape set up correctly, none of the rest of those steps matter.
Oh, that's so. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So if you're listening to this podcast, wherever you're listening to it, and you'd like to get a professional evaluation, if you're not on YouTube, just go to gonextplay.com, click apply. That's the first step of our application process anyways. And you can see if your son meets the criteria to get a professional evaluation. If you're on YouTube, there'll be a link in the description below if you'd like to see as well. And if you're on YouTube, look, we just saw the stat, pretty crazy. Only 21% of the people that watch our videos are actually subscribed. So if you're in that 80% and you're not subscribed and you watch our videos, it would really mean a lot if you subscribe. So consider subscribing if you want to continue to watch our videos that we post 3 every single week, right? So we do this podcast every single Monday at 3 Pacific. We do a Wednesday how-to/coaching video every single Wednesday. And then Saturday, we do an actual evaluation so you can see what those look like every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific. So make sure to subscribe if you're on YouTube. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this podcast. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Football Scholarship Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review. And for more free resources, or if you're interested in working with us, visit gonextplay.com. Until next time.